NeoCat's study area is approximately 19.8 square miles, bordered by the Orange Seminole County line to the north, CR 419, Chuluota Road to the east, Colonial Drive to the south, and Rouse Road to the west. The study area is one of the key areas within Orange County. Major economic generators, including the University of Central Florida, and 2 major business parks are located within the study area, as well as several major developments, including High Point of Orlando, Waterford Lakes, Rybolt Park, Sustany, and the Grow. The study area includes 37 intersections and 22 roadway segments. As part of today's presentation, we will start with the team introductions, then go over virtual meeting logistics, the study purpose and objectives, study methodology, historical safety review and operational analysis results for the existing and future conditions, recommended improvements for the study area, including intersection, roadway, and safety improvements, multimodal improvements, including pedestrian, bicycle, transit, and trail improvements, and transportation demand management, TDM, assessment, and ITS, or intelligent transportation system, and emerging technology opportunities. Finally, we will talk about the study timeline, where we are now, and next steps. We started this study in May 2021. We had the first community meeting on November 1st, 2021, and we are conducting this second community meeting to obtain your feedback on the draft study recommendations. District 4, Maribel Gomez-Cordero, and District 5, Commissioner Emily Bonilla, are with us this evening. I would like to welcome you. Commissioner Gomez-Cordero.
Hi, this is Philip, her aide. I think she's trying to get in, but she's having some technical issues, but she should join shortly.
Okay, thank you very much. Commissioner Bonilla, would you like to say a few words to the audience?
Yes, thank you. This is Commissioner Emily Bonilla, and I guess I should have tested my webcam here, but I am here live, and I just want to say that, this is one of the studies I was looking forward to because it really encompasses a large area. That's a very important area for East Orange County, and it's very important that we have good moving transportation in the area in order to be able to get more jobs like to the research park and stuff like that. So if we don't have good transportation, then it really hurts our economic development in the area. So I'm really looking forward to this. Also knowing how much the costs are going to be and how we're going to get to where we need to be. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Is Commissioner Gomez-Cordero able to join us?
Yes, I'm here. I'm by the phone. Thank you.
Commissioner Gomez-Cordero, would you like to go ahead and welcome everyone and say a few words, please?
Oh, sure. Thank you. I just have to say good evening, everyone. Thank you for the staff to providing this presentation, and I hope you enjoy. And if you have any questions, just you can send emails or you can send it to the system. And thank you all for being here. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Do we have any additional elected or appointed officials noted with their attendance? So, additional staff joining us this evening include Dr. Hatamabu Sena, the Orange County Transportation Division Project Manager, Ward, NeoCats, and Mr. Babuji Ambikapathy, Consultant Project Manager, as well as other county and consulting supporting staff. A few logistics. All attendees have been placed in listen-only mode during the presentation. If you experience technical difficulties during the meeting, as noted, This presentation is being recorded and will be posted on the project website. You can type your comments and questions into the question box at any time during the meeting. The question box is located on the lower right-hand side of your screen. If you do not see the question box, click the Q&A button and it should appear. Questions will be answered at the conclusion of the presentation. The moderator will read the questions and our team of panelists will answer. This meeting will last for 1 hour. If you have called into the meeting with your phone, you will not be able to enter comments into the Q&A box. However, there are 3 methods to provide your opinions and ask questions after the meeting. You can call or email the project contact. Information is provided on your screen. This information is also on the study website and on the newsletter, and we'll present it again at the end of the presentation. You can complete a comment form on the study website. To do this, you click on Share Your Thoughts tab in the upper right-hand corner to get the comment form. We also have a survey that has been added to the website. We would like for everyone to complete the survey after the meeting is over. There are opportunities to provide comments within the survey.
Thank you, Blanche.
I was just going to say, I'd like to introduce Dr. Hatem Abusena, who is the project manager and will take over the presentation. Dr. Abusena.
Thank you, Blanche. Good evening, everyone. My name is Hatem Abusena, the project manager for this project. And today, as Blanche mentioned, this is the second community meeting. I will be presenting the draft recommendations for NeoCAD study. And just to reiterate, NeoCAD, from its name, it stands for the Northeast Area of Orange County, the area study. So this specific area is currently facing significant transportation and mobility challenges due to the limited transportation options that serve the demand, which is currently exceeding the capacity of many of the roadways, which will continue to increase in the coming years. And the main objective is to identify and analyze potential transportation projects for all road users that will provide relief to the constrained corridors, improve network connectivity, and then prioritize them for the short-term, mid-term, and long-term periods. So the study methodology included several key elements, as you can see, and this was achieved by conducting an extensive data collection program to be able to understand the area's travel patterns and network deficiencies so that it can help us in achieving the main objective of developing transportation needs for the area. And as mentioned, public involvement is one of the key elements of the study approach, and we have maintained constant coordination with all the stakeholders to obtain their feedback. As you can see here in this slide, that we conducted our first community meeting back in November 2021. We sent out newsletters to almost 8,700 residents and businesses. And in January 21 of 2022, we also conducted our meeting with the stakeholders, which included the Florida Department of Transportation, Seminole County, University of Central Florida, Lynx, Metro Plan Orlando, Central Florida Expressway Authority, Orange County Fire Rescue, Sheriff's Office, Public Schools, and the Research Park. And we got the feedback from all the stakeholders, and our recommendations have taken into consideration this feedback from these 2 meetings. So moving on to the study methodology, as you can see, it included several key elements as listed here, which included roadway data. As mentioned before, we collected data on 22 segments and 37 intersections. Safety analysis, which included historical crash data for the past 3 years, traffic data, connected and autonomous vehicles. We also looked at the planned and programmed improvements according to like the state and county guidelines. And we also, like, our main consideration or main recommendation was given to safety improvements. This is the range of improvements that we considered for the study area, which included several options with consideration given to the automobile as well as the non-motorized modes, and it included both traditional and innovative measures. As you can see here, examples of the traditional measures included providing additional left turn lanes, right turn lanes, extending existing turn lanes, as well as we also looked at innovative intersection designs, which are recommended by the Federal Highway Administration. So examples of the innovative intersection designs included the displaced left turn intersections, restricted crossing U-turns. And the main idea of these innovative designs is that it divides the network or the intersections into smaller intersections so that we can reduce the number of conflicts, so it improves safety and also improves operations at the same time. We also looked at safety improvements as well as emerging technologies, which included intelligent transportation systems, as well as connected and autonomous vehicles, other multimodal improvements related to pedestrian, sidewalks, bicycle lanes, trails, as well as transit. So this slide was presented in the first meeting, but just to reiterate the historical crash analysis findings for this study. So we collected data for the past 3 years, or like for a 3-year period from 2017 to 2019 to identify hotspot locations and help with evaluating safety improvements. And for this 3-year period, we found there were a total of 4,875 crashes, out of which we found 19 fatalities and 1,300 involved injuries. And the major types that we found were all related to like stop and go conditions and peak hour conditions, which included rear end, angle, and side swipe crashes. So rear end crashes are typical of stop and go traffic. Angle crashes involve left turns and right turn movements. Side swipe crashes happen because of lane changes on the roadway. So you can see here, those are the hotspot locations for the intersections. And to determine that, we calculated the actual crash rates at each location and compared it with the statewide average for similar intersections in terms of geometry and entering amount of traffic and number of lanes. And if it's below the statewide average, then it's not considered hazardous. But if it's above, then it's considered hazardous. And you can see here, 29 out of 37 intersections fit this description. And we have categorized these locations based on the percentage difference between the actual and the average crash rates. This slide shows the 19 fatal crashes that were identified within the study area, and we considered these locations when producing safety improvements. But one important thing to note is that 10 of these crashes are pedestrian related, which is in the purple color. The red color are vehicle related crashes. Also, you can see that majority of the fatalities occur on State Road 50 and a couple on Rouse Road, one on Rouse Road and one on Alafaya Trail. So moving on to the traffic analysis, this is also another slide that we showed in the first committee meeting as part of the existing conditions analysis. But just to show, to remind you with like the roadways that are operating below their capacity, approaching capacity. So below capacity are the green colored roadway segments. The yellow colored segments are the segments approaching its capacity, and the red colored ones are the failing ones, which are above their capacity. And you can think of it, if you have like a 5-gallon bucket, you cannot fit more than that. And in a spilling is similar to the queuing that you observe along the road. So you can see here that parts of State Road 50, Lafayette Trail, Mcculloch, Lake Pickett, and Chuluota are over capacity in the existing conditions. Then, as part of the analysis, we looked at the horizon year 2045 no build conditions, which means that if we do nothing by the year 2045 in terms of improvements, then this is going to be the situation that majority of the roadways will be failing over its capacity. And the same thing we did for the intersections. So this is the existing conditions for the intersections. Right now we have a couple of, like 12 out of the 37 are currently operating at level of service F. When it comes to the intersections, we measure the delay that you experience at the traffic signals, as well as any queuing conditions. And it's measured, like the level of service is a qualitative measure that relates the quality of vehicle traffic service is like the same as the school grade, like ranging from letters A through F, with A being the best and F being the worst. And you can see that, as I mentioned, like 12 out of the 37 are currently failing in the existing conditions. And again, in 2045, we assumed the no build conditions, which included doing nothing. And you can see almost all the intersections except 3 are expected to operate at like better level of service. So the next slide will go over the different improvements that we considered as part of the horizon year. So first of all, we just want to give you a background about the CAVs, connected and autonomous vehicles. So this is a recommendation based on like recent research and also by the Federal Highway Administration, as well as the Florida Department of Transportation and the latest Highway Capacity Manual. They included almost, or recommended, about 45 to 50% of connected autonomous vehicles to be in the traffic stream. But we wanted to be more conservative, because if we consider that for the whole state, we assumed only 33% within our study area, as it's like a confined space. And by doing that, this will result in an increase of about 10% in capacity. And that's also related to, with connected and autonomous vehicles, that the vehicles will be able to move closer to each other with like shorter headway, which increases the capacity or the amount of vehicles that can pass through the hour when they are very close to each other. So for example, if there's a road with a capacity of 900, increasing 10%, so the capacity will be 990. So we started with the programmed and planned improvements. The programmed improvements are improvements that are funded for the next 5 years, and this included State Road 50, as well as a couple of intersection improvements at Rosedale University and Gemini and Aleph area. But the major improvement is along State Road 50 from Avalon Park Boulevard up till State Road 520. It's divided into 2 phases, phase 1A and 1B. So phase 1A is from Avalon Park to Chuluota Road, and then 1B from Chuluota to State Road 50, widening from 4 lanes to 6 lanes. And when I say program, it means that funding is already allocated. It's under design right now, and then the next phase is going through the right-of-way acquisition and then construction. According to Florida Department of Transportation website, construction will start in 2027. And then we also included the planned improvements in our long-range transportation plan for the next 20 years. Planned improvements, like not all the funding is available, but it's an identified need, and it's on our list for the next 20 years. And this included Mcculloch Road from Orion Boulevard to Tanner, Chuluota Road from State Road 50 to Lake Pickett, Lake Pickett from Statute 50 to Percival, Woodbury Road from Lake Underhill to Statute 50. So those roads will be widened from 2 lanes to 4 lanes. And then we ran our analysis again based on these planned and programmed improvements. And as you can see, majority of Statute 50 is over capacity, red color. In addition, some segments on Statute 434, Mcculloch, Lake Pickett, Chuluota, and North Santa are either reaching their capacity in the yellow color or over capacity in the red color. And this shows the need for additional improvements within the study area. So the main issue that we're having is that we don't have a continuous east-west roadway within the study area, same as Statute 50. So all the loading is on Statute 50. Although we have Lake Pickett, also is considered like an east-west road, but as you can see, it intersects with Statute 50 at Lake Pickett, and that's why like all the volume or all the traffic that is using Lake Pickett still at the end is going to use Statute 50. So as part of the next steps in the study, we looked at the needs for the study area on top of the planned and programmed improvements. And as I mentioned, there is a need for another parallel east-west roadway. So this included the new east-west or Richard Crotty Parkway that will use the research park and extend to Lake Pickett in the east. We found that this portion, especially as I mentioned, intersecting Statute 50 with Lake Pickett, dump all the traffic coming from Lake Pickett. So if we provide an auxiliary additional 4th lane, as we have it in the eastbound, like the traffic exiting 408 and traveling east on Statute 50, we have a 4th lane. So if we can do that in the other direction, it's a short lane, but it will provide relief to this portion on Statute 50. Also, we found that there's capacity improvement needs on Lake Pickett Road between Percival and Chuluota, Chuluota Road between Lake Pickett and Cemetery Line, as well as North Santa Road between Mcculloch and Lake Pickett. So as mentioned before, the study improvements are generally prioritized for the short-term, mid-term, and long-term improvements. So we also looked at the planned and programmed improvements for the intersections within the study area. And as you can see, like majority of the intersections are operating in like a better level of service, but still some intersections in the east portion of the county, in the east area, like Lake Pickett with Chuluota Road and Statute 50 are still operating at lower service F. So that's why we also looked at some traditional as well as innovative intersection improvements. And as I mentioned before, with these improvements, like especially the innovative intersection design, they divide the intersection into smaller networks or prohibit some of the minor movements so that we can benefit from either the green time of the signal or reducing the number of conflicts. So if you look here on the median U-turn or the restricted crossing U-turn, you can see that the median opening now is called a directional median opening, which allows left turns only from the main line. But the side streets, they have to make a right turn and then make a U-turn, especially if it's a minor road. So they don't have to take from the green time on the main line or cause other conflicts. And here are some of the anticipated benefits. So for example, converting a permissive left to protected left, it would provides reduction in crashes at about 6%, exclusive right turn lane 11% no crashes, traffic signal 23% fewer crashes, the restricted crossing U-turn 20% fewer crashes compared to the traditional intersection. So by doing that and implementing some of these improvements at some of the intersections, we found that like a lot of these intersections now are operating at a very good level of service. For example, at the intersection of Statute 50 and Areawide, if we provide a displaced left turn or a single point interchange, then this can provide a better level of service at this location. We also looked at safety in terms of multimodal improvements, and those are considered low-cost improvements and can be implemented right away, such as adding retroreflective backplates to the signal head, which make it more visible at night. This helped in reduction in crashes by 15%. Hardened center lines or pedestrian refuge also reduces pedestrian fatalities or crashes by 32%. High friction surface treatment, 58%, especially in wet weather conditions. High emphasis crosswalks. So sometimes if you see the crosswalk in the bright colored texture of crosswalks to make it more visible. Lighting also helps in reducing pedestrian-related crashes, about 40%. Advanced traffic signs helps in reducing rear-end crashes. HAWK, the high-intensity activated crosswalk signal, also reduces crashes by 57%. Detectable warning signs and tightening corner radii. So as you can see here in this picture, instead of having the vehicles making like high-speed turns, you extend the median so that you force the vehicle to slow down. Now it's considered like a 90-degree turn, so they have to slow down, and it also helps with pedestrian safety. So the next couple of slides I'm gonna select, we selected only 3 intersections out of the 37. So we went through all the 37 intersections to identify short-term, mid-term, and long-term improvements. And this is an example of Lafayette Trail and University Boulevard. So you can see the green color are the short-term recommendations, such as adding an eastbound right turn overlap. So right now we have an exclusive right turn lane, but it will help with operations if we can allow this right turn to go with the northbound left. There's just signal timing improvement that is easy to implement. Also, this intersection is also under consideration for pedestrian safety improvement. In the midterm, we are proposing to add a third northbound left turn lane due to the heavy traffic, especially in the PMP. And then in the long term, we are also proposing a third eastbound left turn lane, or if this is going to be like require very wide right of way, then we can replace it with a partial displaced left turn intersection. Other safety improvements and multimodal improvements included adding lighting at the intersection, adding those retroreflective backplates to the signal head, high emphasis crosswalk markings, reducing the curb radii on all the intersection corners, wayfinding signs, adding supplemental signal heads, and also adding the leading pedestrian interval, which like if there's a pedestrian phase, then the pedestrian can start crossing, and we can delay the left turn until the pedestrian finishes crossing, so that the vehicles can, there's no conflict between the vehicles and the pedestrian. Another intersection is Statute 50 and Avalon Park Boulevard, and this one is also part of the improvement of Statute 50, widening from 4 lanes to 6 lanes. So in the short term, we are proposing adding an adaptive signal control for the whole corridor. In the midterm, adding a northbound left turn lane, and in the long term, converting the southbound approach to right turn only. And as I mentioned, this is one of the innovative improvements. And the idea is that the northern leg right now, it's not as heavy as the southern leg. So this intersection can operate as a T intersection, and we don't have to allow the south leg to take from the green time, so they can make a right turn and then another U-turn if they want to go in the eastbound direction, or if they want to go in the westbound direction, they can just make a right turn. The third intersection is Statute 50 and Chuluota, which is also part of the Statute 50 widening project. You can see like some improvement in the short term, adding lanes, adaptive signal control, and then also the fourth leg can be treated as making a right turn and then another U-turn. And I think by doing that, also this will help with some of the cut-through traffic that some of the residents are complaining about at this location. So next, I'm going to go over some of the multi-modal improvements, which included pedestrian, bicycle, and transit. Again, we started with the programmed improvements that are expected in the next 5 years. And this included the committed improvements that will be built in the short term. And as I mentioned, this is developed as part of the recently completed UCF Alafaya Trail Pedestrian Safety Study. They include sidewalk improvements on Alafaya Trail between Challenger Parkway and Mcculloch Road, University Boulevard between Quadrangle and Alafaya Trail. We are also proposing 2 new mid-block crossings, pedestrian and bicycle-friendly intersection improvements, and enhanced crosswalk landscape. As I mentioned before, reducing the corner radii to reduce vehicle speed, as well as some UCF branding. And then we also looked at the planned improvements that were identified either by Orange County, Seminole County, FDOT, or Metro Plan. And most of them will be constructed when some of the study roadways will be widened, or if it will be part of future complete street projects. So right now we are considering Lake Pickett from Percival to Chuluota as a complete street project. And then we developed the need. So we identified like several facilities that need improvement because of like several sidewalk and bike lane gaps. So we identified also additional crossing opportunities, such as on State Road 50, when the intersection improvements that I just showed you at 50 and Avalon Park Boulevard and 50 and Chuluota Road are completed. Also, as part of the plan improvement, we also looked at the trails, and you can see here we have 2 major trails in the study area, the East Orange and Innovation Way North trails that will be extended that cover much of the study area. So you can see here the red color is phase 1A for the East Orange Trail. It's completed from Alafaya until Lockwood and North Orion Boulevard. And then this will be extended to Fort Christmas. The Innovation Way North will be extended from Mcculloch Road until Lake Underhill. And then next we looked at the transit. So this slide shows the existing transit service provided within and near the study area, especially the UCF shuttle. So this is the existing transit service provided by UCF. You can see there are 15 routes in addition to other routes such as the grocery shuttle, park and ride shuttle. If you are familiar with this map, if you go on this website, you'll see this is a real-time map, and you can see the buses moving in real time on the map. So this is the existing transit service provided by Lynx. You can see there are 3 routes in addition to a neighbor link for the Bithlo area along State Road 50. And Lynx is planning to expand the transit service further in the future. And this is the Transit Development Plan, the TDP, provided by Lynx in Orange County. And there will be several new routes that serve the study area, including 2 on-demand or flexible neighbor links with enhanced service and with higher frequency, 4 new express routes with a 30-minute frequency. Also, there's a bus rapid transit, BRT service as part of a study that was conducted back in 2013 along Statute 50 and Alafaya between Ocoee and UCF. And also there is a new route that connects UCF and Oviedo via Lockwood Boulevard. So you can see here, this is the study that was conducted back in 2013, and a preferred bus rapid transit corridor was identified that uses Statute 50 from Ocoee until Alafaya in our study area, and then uses Alafaya to the north from Statute 50 to UCF. And also a bus station area analysis was completed, which identified enhancing the bus stations at Alafaya and 50, as well as Alafaya Trail and Locanatuga Trail. They're also proposing transit signal priority, and this is actually very important, especially if the bus is delayed or late for the next stop. And the idea is that there is an onboard unit that communicates with the signal that if the bus is late, then and approaching this intersection, it automatically turns green so that the bus can arrive on time. And then last, added some travel demand management strategies along with the transit improvements so that we can try to reduce the dependency on the single occupancy vehicles. And some of the recommended TDM strategies are like expanding the neighbor links or on-demand buses if needed, and also creating a transportation management organization. So historically, Central Florida Research Park has benefited from a transportation management organization, which is a public-private partnership formed between the employers, developers, and building owners, and others working in the Quadrangle and UCF area to work on, agree on some of these TDM strategies. For example, something like Zipcar or car sharing programs. Also other measures providing real-time information in one app so that UCF app and Links app can be combined into just one app to make it easy for everybody. Adding like a special transit benefit zone that can be combined with enhanced transit, like as I mentioned, new neighbor links and on-demand or express bus service. Other options is to include new park and ride lots. So right now we have a park and ride lot at Statute 50 and Chuluota Road, where people can car share or use one of those new neighbor links. Other improvements included like mobility hubs, which can support electric vehicle charging stations, micro-mobility, other vehicle rentals or transit stations. And so if some of these improvements are implemented based on national evidence provided by the Federal Highway Administration, this is considered moderate transit improvement. So including the BRT and improving bus frequencies less than or equal to 20 minutes combined with some of these TDM strategies can have a vehicle trip reduction of 5 to 15%. We also looked at the ITS, Intelligent Transportation Systems, for the short term and midterm. And you can see here some of the ITS projects included Statute 50, having an adaptive signal system, in improving the network to include connected and autonomous vehicle infrastructure, so that instead of having only connected vehicles talking to each other, it's called V2V communication, vehicle to vehicle. We also want to have vehicle to infrastructure to the signal cabinet, the traffic signals, and provide alerts to drivers during weather conditions, bad weather conditions, or for any pedestrians nearby, and also disseminate real-time information for the drivers through dynamic message signs. So, and actually there's an ongoing project by the Florida Department of Transportation right now, which is called ATTAIN, Central Florida, funded by FHWA and local matching funds from FDOT to deploy smart technologies in Central Florida. And some of these programs are in our study area, especially UCF. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the autonomous shuttle, and UCF is being tested right now. Also, other programs such as SpaceSafe, which is an innovative fed-bike collision avoidance system that will operate with the connected vehicle technology, so that if there's a pedestrian nearby and having this app on his cell phone and the vehicle is equipped like connected vehicle, it has an onboard unit, then they can communicate and alert the driver that there's a pedestrian nearby, and also the pedestrian can know that there's a vehicle nearby. The Greenway program is also installing signals that are connected with each other so that they can provide greenways and reduce the delays at the intersection. So these are some of the technologies that is being initially tested. And as I said, like UCF is the test bed for all these 4 programs. So with all the programmed, planned improvement projects that we talked about, providing some of the roadway needs, connected and autonomous vehicle impact, as well as some of the travel demand management strategies, you can see that majority or all the study roadways are expected to operate below capacity at an acceptable level of service, as well as the intersections. They are all now like nothing is failing. So to conclude, we have started this study back in May 2021, and now we are in March conducting our second community meeting, and we are presenting our draft recommendations to the community. We will take today's input as well as the feedback we receive via email, website, and other avenues to revise the recommendations as needed, and we anticipate completing the study sometime in June or July, so this is not yet finalized, because we have to go through the local planning agency and the Board of Planning Commissioners meeting in the future. So this is my contact information, as well as the consultant project manager for Bougie and Capacity from BHB. And this is the new CATS website, so that you can provide your feedback. And thank you for listening. And we'll open it up for discussion or comments and questions. Thank you all.
All right, thank you. I will be your moderator for this evening, and I'll begin with the first question. The intersection at Lake Pickett, North Tanner, has frequent accidents. For example, when a car turns left, this often delays cars turning right, and oftentimes the signal will have a green arrow for the left turns, and other times it does not. So is this something that your team is aware of, and are you considering a left turn lane at that intersection?
Yeah, so thank you. So this intersection, we can definitely look at it, but this would be conveyed to traffic engineering department, because it's related to current operations. But definitely we can, it's like, as you mentioned, sometimes the loop detectors in the ground, or if there's like a camera with video detection, sometimes they are down or they're not functioning to detect the vehicles in the left lane. So that's why sometimes it skips the left lane. But we can definitely take a look at it.
Thank you. Next question. Mcculloch Road does not have any bicycle lanes. The Mcculloch Road section east of Lockwood Boulevard is only 2 lanes. This is very dangerous for those on bikes and electric skateboards. Does this study account for this and recommend additional roads or dedicated bicycle lanes?
Yeah, so as you can see here in this slide, this is part of the planned improvements. So right now, the county is undertaking an RCA study, which is roadway conceptual analysis, to determine the need for the roadway to be widened from 2 lanes to 4 lanes, as well as the needs at the intersection. And all these improvements will include complete street improvements, which includes like sidewalks, either on both sides of the road or like multi-purpose paths. I'm just trying to go through the, yeah. So this is the plan. So as part of the planned improvement along this segment, you can see here the green color sidewalk and marked bike lane on both sides of the road. So this will be taken into account in the future.
Thank you. Next question. North Tanner Road was recently repaved. However, they did not replace any reflectors along the divided lines. This makes visibility at night extremely low. Does this study account for these low visibility issues?
Yes, definitely. So this can be part of the short-term improvement, as I mentioned, that can be implemented right away. And so thank you for pointing that out. We'll definitely take it into account.
Thank you. Next question. For years, discussion has been had about adding an overhead walkway for students from the east side and west side from Alafaya and University. Students crossing the Alafaya University intersection are putting themselves at risk each day. Some fatalities have already occurred there. What is going on with that project?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, this is in the program improvements, which is funding is already identified for within the next 5 years. And you can see the improvements, which included the mid-block crossing along Alafaya as well as University at this specific intersection. Also the multi-purpose path for 8 feet sidewalk, which is the red color, on the west side of Alafaya, as well as 10 feet sidewalk, which is a multi-purpose path for bicycle, as well as pedestrians on the eastern side. So this is mainly conducted for the crashes that is happening right now at this intersection.
Thank you. The next question, has Seminole County agreed to give land for the expansion of Mcculloch from Orion to Tanner? If not, the road section is constrained.
So that's why we are conducting this roadway conception analysis. So to identify any right-of-way needs, any environmental impacts, as well as like first and foremost for the amount of traffic that will be using this road, if it needs to be widened or like having it as a complete street program, a street road. So after the roadway consumption analysis is like a planning level study, and after we identify these needs in terms of right-of-way acquisition or environmental impacts, then before going into the detailed engineering design, we have to talk to Seminole County and all the stakeholders.
Thank you. The next question, what effect will Sustany have on the 2045 planned improvements and these proposed changes?
So right now, Sustany is not approved. If you're familiar with like the community meeting that happened yesterday, this is just the first step in the process. If it's going to get approved, then it will go through transmittal, which is the next phase. But just generally speaking, we like considered the Grow and Sustany within our study, just in case, to determine all the needs of the study area. But this is like an early stage. We're not sure if it's going to be approved or not.
Thank you. Next question. Has Orange County changed their urban-rural boundary on the east side? If not, and if rural densities are maintained, the massive increase in traffic will not take place.
So I believe that Orange County urban service area boundary extends until Chuluota Road, if I'm not mistaken. But Brian can confirm that.
Yeah, I'd like to ask John Weiss. John, you have, I'm not aware of any extensions of the USA line out on the east side of town.
This is John Weiss. No, the urban service boundary is not been extended, has not been extended recently, and is largely along the Econ River itself today. So to clarify Hatem's comment, the urban service boundary does not go out as far as Chuluota.
All right, thank you, John. Yeah, so according to that, so it's until the Econ boundary, and so it's not extended.
Thank you. The next question is, what happens at the BCC meeting after this is complete? I think he's referring to the planned BCC meeting.
For new cats, right?
Yes.
So we have to go through, like, this is, as I said, like draft recommendations, and then based on your feedback, we will finalize the recommendations, and then the final report, we will present these findings to the Board of County Commissioners, and they will determine whether, which type of improvements can be implemented and which cannot. As I said, we have the short-term, mid-term, and long-term improvements. We will evaluate all the three and provide cost, evaluation for all these improvements, and based on that, we'll determine whether there's enough funding to implement any of them or not.
Thank you. Will any widening to County Road 419 keep the roadway as a rural cross-section or be designed as an urban curb and gutter cross-section? Also, great presentation.
Thank you. So right now, same thing with Mcculloch, Chuluota Road from State Road 50 to Lake Pickett is going under an RCA, the Roadway Conceptual Analysis, which is a planning level study. And once we go into the detailed engineering design, then we will determine whether it's going to be like curb and gutter or it's going to be rural section.
Thank you. Would extra lanes on Mcculloch be on Seminole County side or Orange County side of the road?
So if the road will be widened, so right now it's 2 lanes, 1 lane in each direction. So it's going to be widened from 2 lanes to 4 lanes. Then it will be 2 lanes on both sides. So there will be 2 lanes on the eastbound and 2 lanes on the westbound.
And the widening would occur on the Seminole County side, since the county line is right down the middle of the existing right-of-way today. And I also should add that as Seminole County has been approving developments that front along Mcculloch, they have set back those developments to anticipate the 4-laning of the roadway.
Thank you. Next question. State Road 50 is fairly constrained for right-of-way acquisition, limiting effective capacity improvements. Have you considered an elevated reversible toll lane system from State Road 520 to 408 and have FDOT and CFX share the cost?
So maybe as you are aware, there were like 2 projects along State Road 50. One of them was conducted by the Florida Department of Transportation or the Turnpike, which is called Colonial Parkway, which was considering a toll road within the median or elevated section along portions of State Road 50. But this study has been put on hold or suspended for now, as well as the other project from the Central Florida Expressway Authority, which is extending 408 to the east. And also, so right now, those 2 projects are on hold. But as far as I know, the Colonial Parkway on Turnpike is not moving forward, but the State Road 408 extension is currently put on hold, but it's an identified need in their plan. So we don't know if any of them will move forward in the future or not.
Thank you. Are the proposed dedicated bus lanes going to have right-of-way so they won't get stuck in traffic?
So right now, we are not considering like a dedicated bus lane, but we like as part of Link's transit development program in the future, they are enhancing this service, increasing frequency of buses and adding some express routes along State Road 50. But right now, we are not considering a dedicated bus lane.
Thank you. Will Mcculloch Road ever be extended to meet State Road 419?
I don't think so. So because of the Econ River, I don't think there are no plans to extend Mcculloch Road from Tanner until County Road 419.
Thank you. I will say it's 7 p.m. now. I was going to read one more question, if that's okay with you, Hatem.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. How quickly can we expect short-term improvements to begin?
So short-term improvements are considered for the year 2025. And just funding. So as long as we have funding and we identify, so based on this study, as I mentioned, we will come up with recommended improvements based on your feedback. Those are still draft. And once we identify the improvements, we will prioritize them according to funding, and hopefully it will be implemented by the year 2025 or like within the next 5 years.
All right, thank you. We did have some questions that we weren't able to get to, and I know we will be posting a record of all questions along with answers to those questions on the project website by April 11th. So I'll pass it on to you, Hatem and Brian, to close off.
All right. So thank you all for attending, and we will look for your feedback and comments so that we can take it into consideration before finalizing the report. But thank you all. So Nikki.
Brian, you're on mute.
Oh, Brian, you're muted.
I was muted heavily by the organizer, I think, maybe. But again, thank you for attending. Thank you for those very good questions. And we're excited to respond to the questions that we haven't gotten to tonight. Look to the website very, very soon, like I said, by the 11th. And hope to see you participating at the Board of County Commissioners and the local planning agency as well. Thank you and good night.